think I love you.
Hello, my friends. How are you doing? A very good afternoon to you, and welcome to another conversation with Uncle Errol. Welcome to the Guile. You know, you never know who you're going to bounce up when you switch on the Guile. And let me tell you, I have a treat for you. Not just a treat, a double treat. In fact, not just a double treat, an amazing treat. This is a conversation you and I will never forget. Today in studio with me, I have the incredibly world-famous South African songstress, Lorraine Klassen. Hello, Lorraine.
Good
How are
afternoon, and
Welcome.
good afternoon to your listeners.
Just right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And beside Lorraine is the incredible musical director who works with Lorraine, Mongezi. How are you, Mongezi?
I'm doing well.
Just right. I'm very good. Good to have you guys here. So we have 1,000 things to talk about, so we're going to jump right in. Lorraine, tell me about your childhood, please.
Oh my God.
When you were that
How
little
much
girl
time
with
do we have?
That girl with 2 plats walking down the road going to school. Tell me about those days.
Yes, I had an incredible childhood growing up in South Africa. Some people will be surprised knowing the history of South Africa to hear me say that. Because I grew up in a musical household. My mom, Tandy Klassen, being a very famous jazz singer, and that era of the 50s and the 60s. So I knew when I grew up, I'm going to be just like my mommy. I'm going to sing and dance and travel all over the world and make people happy with my music, because I could see how happy my mommy was when she would perform. And I could see the reaction of the people of South Africa. We didn't know nothing about apartheid. Music played a very important part. So I was a child. So my mother used the term, I was a handbag. So I was always at my mom's side. So I have nothing but fond memories of my childhood.
And your school days?
Well, my school days were quite unique too, because I grew up in South Africa. We've got different differentiation as to the government then was separating us. So I went to an Afrikaans school, right. So-called colored school,
right.
Because my mom would live in a certain sector. But when I would go to Soweto, to my grandmother's, then we speak the Zulu, the Xhosa, the Tswana, and the Sepedi. So I speak 17 languages.
Wow.
And sometimes people are amazed that I speak all these languages, and they think it's unique. So many out there who speaks just as many as I do, if not more. And that's the introduction of what I was able to adapt to the different languages growing up in South Africa, being with my mom in Thokoza. People always say Soweto. No, I want to correct this. I was not born in Soweto. You see, one correction. Ching, ching. Yeah, I was born in the East Rand, of Alberton, Thokoza. But my upbringing was a strong influence in Soweto, because that's where my mom, after they were forcefully removed from Sophia Town in the 50s, moved from Sophia Town to Soweto. So that's my connection with Soweto.
And when did you first leave South Africa to perform anywhere outside of South Africa? What occasion that?
Yeah, I was in this musical, because in South Africa at that time, theater played a very important part. So I grew up in theater, where you have to sing and dance and you have to articulate, like I'm doing right now. I'm articulating. They used to teach us all these,
yes.
Like it was a good school, so to speak, right? So I did a musical here. I did the musical Jesus Christ Superstar. These are all musicals.
Big musical.
Yeah. And so the American production, we used to come to South Africa. I'm talking about 1976 now. Mm-hmm. And they auditioned some local South Africans.
Yes.
And there were so many of us at that time, and only 4 of us were selected. And I was one of the 4, the only girl. And it came at a very critical time, because it was during the exams for me to write my matric. Mm-hmm. But you choose school, music. So I went that other way around. Music played. So that was my choice. So we went to Maseru. I went to Bambane. I went to Swaziland to this musical here. And then coming back, I auditioned, and those were the good old days in South Africa. Musicals, auditions, was very, very important because of the political situation. Arts and culture was alive then at that time. So
that was the escape.
Yeah,
it was a place to,
people
to vent and to express.
Go to the Market Theatre, let's go to the Joburg Theatre. That's a place people used to know they could go to listen to, to musicals. So, and my biggest one was a musical that I auditioned for where I got the lead role. It's called Gilbert and Sullivan production, The Black Mikado. So I played the lead role of Yum Yum. And my mom played my mom.
Wow.
In that same musical called Katisha, the Wicked Witch. She is not, but unfortunately, that's all I could say. So I grew up basically really in theater, good school. I was surrounded by all the other artists and musicians and actors and a good community that I would say brought me up.
And while this handbag was moving from place to place, Mongezi, what was your childhood? Tell me about your childhood.
Sort of similar, coming from a very musical background. My family was fully engaged in the arts and culture and music from way back from the rural areas into Johannesburg. So where Lorraine comes from, like Alberton is the same area, it's east of Johannesburg. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in a place called Boksburg and then Benoni, Wattville in Benoni. And there's so much there happening. As a child, we used to hear a lot of singing, all kinds of singing. It'll be choirs, it'll be street competitions, and also a lot of jazz musicians came from the East Rand. A lot of jazz musicians, including my uncle, who was one of the most influential artist in the 1960s. And it just happens that she worked with Lorraine's mother. They worked together, Blues and Dagga. And so we sort of come from that experience. And then when I turned 12, the family decided that I needed to go study, the theory part of music and things like that. So I went to a place called Doke House in Johannesburg, which sort of was the center, the center of artists. A lot of artists assembled there and gave lessons to a lot of young musicians, young and upcoming musicians. And I attended, and my tutor, I remember one of the first day I went there, I encountered this tall gentleman wearing a beret in black suit. And so his wife was a seamstress there, Queen Ndaba. Yes. And so when I walked in, she said, "Look, Ntanami, wait just here for a little while, you're too early." And then he walked in with his big saxophone case. And he says, "Oh, okay, you're here to kind of get a feel." I said, "Yes." And he started teaching me sort of the theory. I was already playing, guitar, but just to give me the idea, the theory, and then I studied. And then eventually, he sent me over to Gallo Recording Studios in Johannesburg. Say, look, he gave me a note and said, "Go and see this guy." His name was Peter Mtishu, the producer. Said he's looking for somebody to play guitar on a recording, like a demo, not actual recording, but they were demoing some songs. And when I went in there, I sat there, I played. I didn't have my own guitar. So they kind of lent me a guitar. So, okay, use this guitar. And as I was playing the guitar, another guy, like a bald-headed guy, walked in and said, "Oh, I like that. What is your name?" I said, "Mongezi." I said, "Okay, there's a guy by the name of Lucky Dube. He's looking for to form a new band. Are you available to come in tomorrow?" I said, I was a kid, and I was wild then, yeah. And so
you were wild? No, I just want to make sure we get it on record.
Yes.
You were wild.
Yeah, sort of, sometimes not keeping up with time and, promising and then don't show up. So he said, "Look, I'm going to give you some money, like 20 Rand. Those days, 20 Rand was like maybe, I don't know, $5. So you show up tomorrow. So no excuses that you didn't have money for transport." So I did show up, and the following day, and met Lucky Dube, and did some sort of audition, and that's how I got started.
Wow. And tell me about how you first left South Africa as a musician. With which band, with what gig, how did it happen?
So just before I joined Lucky Dube, I got an opportunity to go to Botswana. That's a neighboring country. 5 hours drive from Johannesburg to do some sort of like club dates with a group. That was my first experience to leave the country.
And how old were you then?
14.
Wow.
Yeah, 14.
So what happened to school?
School wasn't important because, the generation, we were the sort of the follow-up generation from the Soweto uprising. We were not actually students that were jumping out of the classrooms to protest. We were just a little bit younger. And so school, we had given up because of the system. We thought that the system was trying to get us in a space where we had to be compliant and submissive. So every kid, people still took education serious, but I think we thought that maybe we had other options, especially the arts and other things that we...
And being wild.
Yes, and being sort of that kid, and yes, doing that, yeah. So that was my first experience. And then the second one was leaving South Africa to go perform in France with Lucky Dube. France, I think Belgium, we did the UK, Germany, Italy, and then at the end of that tour, we ended up in the United States. So goes the history. Yeah.
So Lorraine, how did you meet Mongezi?
So how I met Mongezi, because Mongezi lives in Washington, D.C. I live in Canada. And so I was being, Mongezi was being, I think his group was being employed to do South African Freedom Day, which is the 27th of April.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, that's correct.
And so I got a call from the other ambassador in Ottawa and saying, would like for you to be part of, to also go and perform. I said, well, I don't have a band. You know me, nothing stops me. When people hire me, I never use that word, I don't have.
Yeah.
I make a plan. Because sometimes we block our own blessings. Something comes and then we said, I can't do this, I can't do that. So I've never used that term.
You don't know that?
No, I don't think, I know, it will happen. I need to go somewhere, I want to go somewhere. So then I got in my truck, and so they said it's going to be this band, put together from South Africa. So as you notice, even last night when we performed, South African music is very adaptable to so many people, and certain of our songs are so universal that I sing the same song that you sang, that she sang, that he sang. It's, we do we do 100 Congo 20s. Pata pata, everybody do pata pata. Everybody. But that's our trademark, yes. Right? So I sent a note to Mongezi, said, listen, because there was already a singer that was featuring.
Right, on the card.
On their card, yeah. Okay, but as a guest, maybe I can just do like two or three songs, So Mongezi said, okay, Lorraine, but the songs that I had chosen that I wanted to do, just like last night, the other singer was also already having similar songs. So Mongezi was very kind. He went to the girl and said, listen, Lorraine is, from out of town. And this girl, they know me because my mom is very famous. They know most of my mom more than they know me. And can we compromise? Can you give Lorraine? It's like having a slice of bread. Can you take, you take this piece, give Lorraine a little bit of something. But she was not keen on doing that. But Mongezi is very diplomatic. And then also, don't forget, me in Canada, I was very well known, but I use local musicians. I've never had a South African musician. So I use people from Haiti, from the Caribbean, and I create my music. So it always has that Caribbean African rhythm, but it lacked for me that a little authenticity of that little South African. So that's when I mentioned to me, I thought, because I love the way he played, but also Mongezi's personality. I love the way I observe how he interact with his musicians, how we talk.
How wild he is.
How kind he is. But there's the other word he was?
Wild.
How wild. That's why I'm surprised. I'm because I haven't seen that wildness yet. Well, we still have a couple of years to go.
That's why I said
Come out
when I
soon.
was young, right? I said when I was wild. So it's the past tense, right?
You're not domesticated. You're not
Yes,
domesticated.
yes, that's correct. That's correct.
All right. So I approached him and I mentioned to him, and he was like, first time he met Tani Klassen's daughter, because my mom's name is always like a door opener,
Yes.
although I've earned my stripes,
Absolutely.
And then I said, Mongezi, I'd like to bring you to Canada. I want you to work with my guys. I'm lacking this, because at that time I already had notoriety in Canada. And I said, come and stay at my place, you can stay at my home, we work, we do that. And he gladly accepted. And we've been working together ever since.
But Mongezi, how did you transition now from a guitarist to the musical director?
I've always been, the reason why I went to the conservatory, why my family, especially my aunt, she insisted that I go study because she wanted me to understand the whole spectrum of the music business, especially the performance part of it. So performing, being a band leader, and being orchestration, being able to understand music from a more fuller context, not just like, okay, we have a band, he plays that, but arrange parts. So the opportunity came. I had studied, at FUBA with several instructors, and then when I went with like a Dube, I was sort of like the co-musical director in the band, and started arranging music, parts, and also setting up rehearsals, make sure that everybody attended rehearsal and all those kind of things. And it just grew from there. Then I got into working with other artists and sort of assumed the same role, and branched out of into like musical theater as a musical director in the musicals in the United States. And so I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and being with her also pushes me, because she wants certain things like set list and instrumentation, even when we're recording, because I've also produced some of our music in the studio.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a collaboration and learning. It doesn't stop. It's every day. You learn every day.
Or does home call you? Does South Africa call you?
Even one of my albums, the title was Africa Calling.
Wow.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Or you knew that?
I didn't.
Yeah, one of my titles of my album is called Africa Calling. That again was produced by Mongezi. Africa calls me every day. For me, it's not a uniform I put on and off.
Mhm.
It's the way of life. What you see here sitting down, when you see me on stage, on and off, that's Lorraine. It's not a makeup I put on and off. It is constantly with me. And I think having stuck to sing my African songs, even though I sold out to most of my concerts, they have no idea what I'm saying, but they still keep on coming.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and the culture. And that's what, when I perform my music and I shut my eyes, I literally see myself being at home in Africa. So I like to visualize. I visualize my childhood, and I take pleasant things out of life, because there's so many difficult things in life. So I like to sing happy songs, because the scene of the world has changed. There's so much sadness. So you don't want to bring people. So every time they come to my show, I say, put on your dancing shoes. We're going to be happy today. And then when you leave my show, okay, you can be miserable again. But for a little while, be happy for now, So I love kindness. I love people who are kind. I love niceness, goodness, how you make people feel. Because at the end of the day, they may not remember your name, but they remember how you make them felt. You see? So those are the things that brings me joy. And so my music, the songs we chose with Mongezi and all these other choices that I make, I first have to be happy in order to make other people happy.
Absolutely.
So that's how I choose.
Now, that first time when that lady was singing songs that you had planned to sing, was an issue, but you've written a lot of your own songs.
No,
How
that's
many
it.
of your own songs do you have?
Oh, we did. I got but you see, and that's where I can say the musicians here are really, really good, and that's what helps when Mongezi goes sometimes ahead of me, because he was able to discern that. And so, okay, Lorraine, let's take plan B.
Okay.
You know, because had he not come, just for example, and we just show up, and then we all,
Yes.
you know, but yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
we would have still made it happen.
Yeah.
But like she said, when I said to her, what's her name? I don't want to say she.
Her name is Lois.
Lois, okay. Beautiful voice.
Yes.
Incredible performer.
Oh.
Yeah. And so when I said, let's do a song together, like Lagushoni Langa, I could have chosen any other song.
Yeah.
But she said, do you want to do it my way or
Or your way.
And I said, what?
Our way.
Our way.
Yeah.
Because it's not about how I do it and about you do it. Because as I mentioned, people interpret their own styles differently. So there's never a right or a wrong way how to do it. It's just what is comfortable for you
In
to
the
do
moment.
it. At
In
the moment, right.
Yeah.
And then we, you know, so I was just trying to show that, you know. But it made me happy because there's a song I sang in French.
Mhm.
It's called La Reine,
The Queen. Yeah.
Hello.
Right here.
So in Quebec they call me La Reine, the Queen. So, but basically it's like, well, Mongezna they call me. I didn't say I am. You all are calling me that. You know, it's everywhere I go to Montreal. But what's my point now? You see?
We're talking about the songs.
Oh, yeah. So in French, because I wanted also to show my appreciation for Quebec, Canada.
Yes.
I live in the French sector. To show that people would come and see my performances, not understanding what I'm saying. I also wanted to show them the respect of their music in their language.
Their tongue.
And singing, you know. And so those are the things you got to pay attention, you know, when you, as my travel, like I sing in Greek, I sing in Hebrew, you know, I do a little bit of Spanish here, not too much, of course. But the point is not in a large scale, right? But just little things in between there that you
season it. Yes.
Like you're cooking your meal and, you know, you got to just add a little this that gives your music a little flavor. So I like doing that, and I think people appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mongezi, you meet all sorts of different bands of musicians. How is it to get them to play Lorraine's music? Is it often easy?
It depends. If you look at the whole Caribbean, this African, you know, people of African descent, so meaning that they have rhythm. So it's not hard to kind of it's not hard for them to be very rhythmic. Mm-hmm. The only thing will be we talk more about where the rhythms are. So what makes South African township music is because it falls between beats. It's not on the beat. Right. It's a little bit different than, you know, to calypso or reggae. So when you get in, the first thing that you do is to kind of listen to what they have done, because the music we sent ahead.
Right.
So what will happen is that when the promoter proposed, you know, Lorraine has decided, okay, I'm going to do this show. So she will decide, okay, what will be the set list, depending on where she's going. Because this set list we played last night might not be the one we play in South Africa.
Right.
You know, but so what we do, once the set list has been decided, I'll send the music ahead of time. And the musicians will kind of get a feel of what they think it is. And sometimes they get it, sometimes not. You know, so you walk in the rehearsal and let them play. Okay, let's do that song. Let's say Minanawe. I'll play a little bit, and so okay, maybe there it could be this way, that way, and that's different. Now, when we're in South Africa, because they already know the sound, the township. You know, you don't have to do that much. But when you're performing in the United States or in Canada, you have to do that because these are two different kinds of feel. The music feels a little bit different. It jumps different, you know. And the musicians that we work with here, Rodney, Alexander and his band, all of them, Tamba and all those guys, they're really great musicians. Yeah, they have a good sense of rhythm, and the ears are always wide open. Just make sure that listen to that. So it was easy. I think things flowed. Lorraine was happy. in sound check and all that.
The music is not a stranger to us here in Trinidad and Tobago. We listen to that music, that's in the playlist of our life, and a lot of calypso has been informed by that music also.
Yes.
If you listen to some of the rhythms and some of our calypsos, it will feel familiar.
Yes.
Yeah? Where, I don't have to ask where you've not, or where have you performed? Where have you not performed, or where have you performed? I imagine you have a very hectic schedule, Lorraine.
Well, being in Trinidad, I like to bring out my highlight of having performed with a Trinidad. I performed with Mighty Sparrow.
Wow.
I performed with Mighty Sparrow in Japan, actually.
Wow.
Mighty Sparrow I performed with him when he come to Montreal, not so much, but when he was traveling to Japan. And I didn't know much I know about Mighty Sparrow music because there's a huge Caribbean community in Montreal, but I've never met him in person, right? Incredible personality, great sense of humor, funny man, great dancer, and of course his lyrics. I was shocked that all those little Japanese girls all knew his songs. They were there with their album. I didn't even know half of his songs, and they knew all his music. And also when we opened the Queen's Park, it's the Queen's Park, not the Queen's Park, the theater here. We opened it with Mighty Sparrow right here in Trinidad. I performed.
Napa?
No, not Napa.
Queen's Hall.
Queen's Hall.
Yes.
Yes, beautiful. It was still brand new at that time. So Mighty Sparrow, always says his jokes. You see me when I perform, I do my African things. And like you said, unfortunately or fortunately, they don't know what I'm saying because of my language. Yes. At home, I can make my jokes in between my songs, like he does in his songs.
Which he's famous for.
Well, yeah. And so when you listen to the lyrics, and he's very funny, and he's telling story through his music. So that's my highlight for being here in Trinidad, to mention him. But I had a wonderful opportunity that I've shared the stage at the Barbados Jazz Festival. That's actually where the Caribbean doors opened for me, 1996 and 97, at the Barbados Jazz Festival, where I performed with Roberta Flack. I performed with Patti LaBelle, not with them, but the same billing, Patti LaBelle, Roberta Flack, Al Jarreau. I mean, you name them. I was like, this little girl from up is performing, sharing the stage with these huge artists, But I met Patti LaBelle. This is so funny. Because it's the second time, because people wanted me back. I was one of the only few artists that the crowd wanted more. I'm talking about Barbados Jazz Festival now. It was a headliner, like Lorraine had them begging for me. Yes. But out of respect for the artists behind me, I never go over the time that I'm being located to.
Of course.
I've been very respectful because I don't like it for artists who go and they perform.
And they go on and on.
They go on and on. It's a lack of respect for the other artists because you're cutting in on their time. So that's when they said, okay, coming back. But Patti LaBelle, when I saw her in the plane, we were all business class, so I was already sitting there, me, myself. She was there with her entourage. Yeah, she was there with her entourage. And in my head, I'm thinking, Lorraine, that's Patti. It's a big deal for me coming from South Africa, I'm sitting there and I'm not saying, I thought, Lorraine, hold it. Keep your dignity, self-respect. Hold back. Don't be like, no, hold it back. And so, long story, as we were now landing at the airport in Barbados, I'll never forget that. Yeah, we had people were coming to welcome us to go to this private space, while they're going to go to our. So nobody's there now. Now when, oh my God, Patti LaBelle! I said, what an honor! Nobody's there now, just me and her. I'm like, oh my! I said, I'm from South Africa. She said, so you are the girl from South Africa. That's Patti LaBelle telling me that. I'm like, what did I do? She said, I heard so much about you. Wow. She said, I know you had the crowd in the palm of your hands. That's Patti LaBelle telling this little girl that. I'm like, they say that? She said, yes. Because before, you see, I was wearing this duke. But just before we landed, I put on my turban. I started to put my little things on too, to look. Today I didn't dress up a bit with me casual. Anyway, so showtime comes. We're there. Guess who's calling me on stage?
Patti LaBelle.
The crowd went wild. And I remember I had a skirt with a long slit. And she had this beautiful red gown on. And when I started to, my African moves, when I started to, she says, what? Lift up a dress. Lifted up a dress and started to give me some moves. That was my highlight and my best moment. And Roberta Flack was very generous in acknowledging. And so those are a few of my highlights.
And which great musicians have you played with, Mongezi, that you've seen and admired?
Lorraine Classen.
Lorraine Classen. That's that right here. It's that right here. I think there's quite a bit, but there's certain kind of artists that come to mind because of their humanity. I think the first one that I would mention would be Vusi Mashlosera from South Africa that I've traveled with. I've also done some musical direct work for him. Hugh Masekela, of course, traveled with Hugh for a long time. And of course, Lucky Dube. And so the journey goes on. Those are just a few to mention. I also have performed with Dave Matthews of the Dave Matthews Band, who's a good friend of mine as well. So,
Mongezi, you've been to Trinidad a couple of times before.
Yes.
And this trip is different for you.
Yes.
Tell me about your need to be among the people and so on, and not just be shuttled from airport to hotel, hotel to venue, venue to hotel, hotel to airport. Why do you need more than that?
I think, travel is the best education that one can have. And so when you get to a place and you're confined to just the business that you're doing, so hotel, airport, hotel, venue, you're missing out. So you need to be in the community, and you need people that are part of the community that know a lot of people that can take you places so you can see yourself. So so I've been to Trinidad. So this is what it's not everything about the Trinidadian culture, but you get a feel. You go to the market. I've been to the market. I've been to just different places. Being able to sort of pick a fruit.
Yes.
Yeah, local fruit, not buying it, picking it and eating it. It's such a what is in South Africa. They say that son of the soil or daughter of the soil, meaning that now you're becoming part of that because the people that are showing you that have so much love for you that they're making you part of the culture. That this is how we live, and you're also kind of we're getting into a field and adopting to the way. So this trip for me, it has been sort of being able to go out there, meet people, and just in their everyday life, not people that are just ready, they're dressed for work. No, people just minding their business. They're trying to do this, they're trying to do that, and learning. It's a learning process for it. Yeah.
And is home calling you?
Or home?
Is Africa calling you?
It's always going to call me because we all, as we sit here, we are the sons and daughters of Africa. And I would say that every living Black person in the Caribbean and in South America, in the United States, Canada, has a living cousin in Africa. Yes. Like somebody who lives in Africa today, they are related to those people.
Blood relative.
Blood relative, yes. And so home for us, especially when I go to Lorraine, we of course, family, we have to visit family and everything. And home is where we get our inspiration from. When we go, that's when we say, okay, what's happening now? And what have we forgotten? For instance, like Lorraine talked about the removal of Sophia Town in the 1950s when Africans were removed, forcibly removed from this beautiful area. That was a mixed race area where Blacks, whites, Indians, and coloreds, and everybody lived over there, and then moved to Midlands, to Soweto, and all that. All that history, some of it can get lost if the young generation are only focused on what's happening now. So it's our responsibility as, who are now the custodian of the culture. Like Lorraine does strictly classical township music. And the younger people in South Africa have moved on now. They're doing most of what they call mapiano music, mapiano. Before then, they were doing what they call kwaito and all that. So it's make sure that we remind them and we perform like the old classics. We don't, even though sometimes Lorraine recorded a piece, Sizzle Shire Soul, which is a mixture of contemporary music mix of that, but still we kept the tradition in the tradition of the old groups like Mahotela Queens, the Dark City Sisters, who are also part of our inspiration, Busim Shongo, all those kind of artists. So we make sure we go back home so we can get, more inspiration, grounded, get more inspiration, yes. So home is always going to be home for real.
Home is home. Home is
Yes,
home.
yeah, home is
And
home.
do you have property at home? Do you have any little piece of land or a little shack or anything at home?
Yeah, properties are very important. Actually, right now in my family, when I say my family, I'm talking about my grandmother, great grandmother, they're fighting for their land. And it's the first time our families has been getting together to get that property that was expropriated by the white people.
Yes.
So it's going very well. It is slow, but it is going very well. But I own a home. Where we have a home, you gotta have a house.
Yes.
I was speaking to the brother. He said the thing with black people. I don't want to mention from which part of the Caribbean, because we don't want that. But he said, you see them driving nice Mercedes-Benz, they have nice cars, but they don't even own a property. You see them having, everything shines,
Yes.
but they don't own a property. So our legacy that our parents leave for us is always going to be something that we have. Mongezi, his parents, right now, even when I was in South Africa, make sure that the property of his mother, that's your mother's home,
Yes, yeah,
that they make sure
mother's
that the deed. I said to Mongezi, don't care what people say, you need the deed. Because the hearsay, you said, I said, it's not gonna fly, So yes, we, as much as we do what is it we are doing here, we're always conscious about stuff like that to make sure that you have a solid foundation. You have, something solid that you can have
Land below your foot.
underneath your
Yes,
feet,
yes.
because what's happening is we could see if you don't take care of that, the saddest thing, what happened in my particular case, which I don't necessarily want to get too much into it, is that you put people in your own home and then after they're in there, they don't want to leave because you live overseas.
Yes.
So it's very hard to have 1 foot here and 1 foot there,
Correct.
to be able to maintain, so sometimes you got to let go of certain things for your sanity because it will cost you more because by
Correct.
law, they say it's your place. But you say, I didn't damage it. I didn't do this. No, it's in your name.
That's right.
So it's just things like that. So, and I like your question you asked Mongezi earlier. My mother always taught me that it is show business. So take care of the business part of the show, not just the show. And that's why you see many artists, they've been famous, they made millions of dollars, and they lose it overnight because there's been no respect for work, easy come, easy go, as we say.
Yeah.
So we work hard for our money.
Yes.
We got to take aeroplanes to come to Trinidad. We can't walk to come to Trinidad.
Yes.
And you haven't slept in how long now?
Yeah, I haven't slept at all, actually.
Wow.
I had a concert. I've been traveling so much. I had a show in Toronto, and then I had to fly from Toronto to Montreal, and I had a show in Montreal. And after that show, I had to take the early 6 o'clock flight to come here. And I performed last night. And then you had me. Now I'm supposed to be my rest.
So you kind of took away some of
You know what I'm saying?
Your rest
Your
time.
rest.
Your rest time.
Yeah, right. But it's Trinidad is very special, the Caribbean and the Emancipation, which you have to give credit for, that remind us, because sometimes we all tend to forget.
Yes.
But like I'm saying with me, in my case, I never forget because I wear it, I live it every day. But sometimes we need little reminders for those who don't. This emancipation, remember where you come from. And I see so many beautiful men and women dressed beautifully in their traditional gowns. But then you're going to take it off to next week and you hang it up and then waiting for the next emancipation.
bring it out
Wear
to the
it.
sun.
You know,
Yes,
yes.
to dress it
I
up.
was
Dress
saying
it
to
up.
Mongezi that the wear is expensive here. We pay a lot of money to dress in traditional African wear. And I wish that it wasn't that expensive because we would wear it all the time.
Yes.
You know, I'll never forget when Winnie Mandela came to Trinidad. And everybody was out in their African way.
Wow.
And Winnie came out in a business suit.
Oh no!
I'm telling you.
Really? Oh, that is
Yeah, it was
disappointing.
at our National Stadium. I was the host of the event. And yeah, but when in Trinidad, we share everybody's culture. So the day before, the last working day before Emancipation, Indians, Africans, Chinese, everybody wear the African wear to school, to work.
Okay.
You know, and all the head
Yeah,
ties
yeah.
and everything. And similarly, before the last working day before Diwali, a Hindu holiday, everybody comes out in the Indian
Sari,
way and the
yeah.
saris and the shalwars and all these things. We have quite a mix
Yeah.
of people and culture
Yeah.
and so on here in Trinidad and Tobago. Are you happy with where the African man is in the world today? In terms of his awareness, in terms of how easy or difficult life is for an African man to make his way in the world today?
That's a very difficult subject because if I answer, I personalize my question, and I cannot generalize my question because it depends who you're talking to. But from what I have seen, I think again, most of the African men, and I'm speaking not about, this is going to be very careful because I don't want anybody calling me, nobody coming to my shows because I talk about
You hear what she said? You hear what she said?
You hear what she said? But from what I've heard from a few of my other friends that I've heard, the disappointment is when the African men see their women are being successful.
Okay.
They seem to have a problem. They seem to like when they saw you were successful. That was maybe the attraction. They like when they see a woman is successful and she's doing. But the minute now they are in the mix, now it's if they want to suppress her now.
Yeah.
And they miss the point that this is not my money, it's our money. Yeah. This is not my home, it's our home. You know, and if people come to admire me or adore me, you should be happy about that, you know, because the woman most of the time is not the one who misbehaves. She's not always the one who's looking outside, you know. But I find that some of these men are very narcissist, some, you know, and because they have to have that manly thing. But it's not necessary. I go back to the word kindness does not define if you're a man or a woman, you know. So, and I mean, people have been singing about black men. What's his name there? James Brown, you know. Black man, you know, everybody's been singing about that, but act it. Yeah. You know, there's nothing I see a beautiful black man. I don't even know who he is. I used to go up and say,
did you just look at me when you said that? Did you just look at me when you said that?
But I do, and you really are. You're a fine black man. No, that is true. But it's nice to give a compliment.
Yes.
You know, and I see a couple, I would say, oh, he's such a lovely couple. You know, I like to say things that how you make people feel. Go back to again how I make people feel, but never in a way that if I say it, you think it's no. So I hope our black men will recognize that, you know, a woman wants to feel just as good as you want the respect out of her.
Mongezi, now when I asked the question, I meant the black man.
Yes.
Men and women.
Oh, you meant mankind.
Yes. I love your response to that. That was a very important
so we're going to
response
delete that part then.
No.
Yes.
But how would you answer that question? Where's the black man in the world today?
A lot of work ahead of us as a people. African unity is important, and not just on the African continent, but here as well in the diaspora, and knowing what we are worth as a people. Embracing our traditions fully, same way how the Japanese, the Chinese, the Europeans, the Jews have, because they don't have to apologize for being who they are. But that's always expected of Black people, that we have to feel our pride of being who we are seems to be an offense to certain group of people. And that's why we find ourselves in this situation where we're always at the bottom of the whole racial caste system. And so we have to empower the young people, make sure that they're proud, they work hard, and they stand their ground when it comes to their cultural heritage, which is important. Make sure that kids are taught about themselves first before they can learn about Napoleon, before they can learn about anything else. First is about the African culture, not only the transatlantic slave trade and the Arab slave trade, but just who are we? Who are the kings and queens in Africa, all over the place? Because we have those people. And then what have we done? What have we contributed to humanity? There's so many. Those things tend to be lacking. You talked about how expensive clothes are, African clothes here in Trinidad. There's a solution to that. I think the solution, instead of importing these things, is to take our young people here in Trinidad, go understand what is it, what makes African fashion, what it is, and then they come over here and be entrepreneurs, business people. So those things are made here, because it doesn't make sense. You find that cloth, when it's made in Africa, costs $25 or maybe less, but because of transportation, so the other part you're paying the shipping companies.
Amen.
You're paying the ship and the customs duty and all these things. Why can't we have this business mind where now we know that our people here in Trinidad and other parts of the Caribbean, they like to wear African clothes. Why can't we now start making them their jewelry, or bringing the master jewelry makers of African jewelry, like this, for instance, that's in Southern Africa. When Lorraine and I are in South Africa, we make sure that we go to the markets where the women and men make African jewelry. I don't wear anything but African jewelry. Why can we get, I saw several people commenting, I really like that. How can I have that? So why not maybe train people to know how to make these things right here? So it's affordable, so we're not paying all this. And so that's part of it, because we always expect that, it's going to be made in China, or somebody's going to import it, it's going to make it easier. No, the factories that our people, Black people, can open here, making African clothes and fashion, can employ a lot of people. So that's where I see that I think we lack confidence most of the time. That's why we're not making things for ourselves. Somebody else has to make it for us.
Because African nations physically closer to us in the Caribbean than China. So
Yes.
maybe we should start looking nearer with respect to, a lot of the things we import can come from Africa.
Yes.
And probably cost us less than the things that come from further. But it's something for us to explore as a people.
Business.
But it has to have an intention.
Intention, yes. To train the young people not to be scared. That if you go to a mall, whether is it Trinity City? You mentioned there's a place called
Trinity.
Trinity City, yes, where there's all these European brands of goods, and everyone gets paid, and they're looking to buy those things. Why can it be an African product that everyone wants to buy? Because then money is circulating in our community, and that's how we get rich.
Yes.
But if we're buying the European brands and other things made, we're not going to get rich, because we earn the money, we work hard for it, but then it goes out, we give it away. So it's things like that we need to have confidence in our fashion, our sense of fashion, and also acknowledge it, and also work with governments around the world where just a suit and tie is not the only acceptable business attire. There could be other means that you walk in there, they still consider you as dressed formally.
Yes, formally.
Formally. So those kind of fashion that our young people can get into, fashion design, it's important. We start there.
Lorraine, that was a nice outfit last night. Nice is not the word I'm looking for, but that thing that you had on over everything with the beads coming down. Where is this from?
Well, everything, before I go back, I hope you're going to delete the part where you asked me about where fast mashing, because now I misunderstood. I thought you were
That's
talking
okay.
about men,
Yes.
not mankind.
Right. Fair enough.
So delete that part. So, so no, that, because I've got, like Mongezi says, when I go to South Africa, I buy a tons of jewelry, and I don't buy them. I go to the women who make it. Good example. Well, the one I was wearing yesterday, I asked if she could design that for me,
Right.
because you can give them also ideas of what you want, because they do beadwork all the
Yes.
time. They toil it. But I want to have something like that. I want to have something that I can throw over. And there's similar styles. What I like about this one, it is loose. When I move, it moves, and you can wear any color underneath it. I was wearing black because I noticed I was trying to stay in the uniform. So everybody was dressed a certain way. So I kind of like, oh, okay, let's be like little, uniforms, and I throw that over there. But usually when I go to the rural areas where these women are toiling day in and day out. Because as Mongezi mentioned, sometimes they work so hard, and you get a European person coming to take the stuff, and there's a showy display in their beautiful boutique. And they probably give them, let me say, $100 for something that they want to sell maybe for $600. But because it's in a beautifully displayed cabinet, they have to pay their rent where they are. So what I did a while back, and that's been my rapport, I got these two women, and it was a hot, hot day. She had a baby on her back, and she had an umbrella for the baby, and she had a bottle of water. And so also what you notice when you go to the market, almost everybody sells the same thing. It's so similar,
Yes.
right? And I thought, what difference can I make, at least in one person's life? So I said to her, how much is this? And she gave me a price. How much is that? She gave me a price. And I was with other friends, because every time I go to South Africa, I've got all these friends who want to hang around from Canada, want to go, and I would have taken to these places. I said to her, you know what? I'm going to be with my friends. I want to buy everything you have here. Think about what it is. Don't tell me now. I'm going to walk around, come back and give me a price, and go home and take care of your child. It is too hot. Wow. But I don't think she understood what I was trying to say, right? Because I was accompanying my friends, and we were, looking. So I came back, and I said, so have you decided? She said, Yonke, meaning everything? I says, well, this and this and this and this and that. Make me a price.
Yes.
And she gave me a ridiculous price. And I told her, I said, because you know why? I'm going to sell this stuff when I go to Canada. I was clear.
Yes.
I'm going to make a profit. So tell me,
Give me a
I'll pay you.
price.
Yeah. And she gave me a price. Of course, I tripled whatever it is that she asked. And she could not believe that. The moral of the story it's not that I bought everything, is that I made a difference in one person's life that day. Because you can buy the same thing, I buy 100 from you, 100 from you, 100 from you. It's still not effective with one person. But the way that I decided to do it was much more effective. So that's when the other ladies now, they saw what I did with this one. Oh, my sister, what about me now? You cannot do that. What about us? So I kind of, not that day, but I came back and I said, why don't you guys work together as a team? Even if you've got kids, you can babysit each other's children, but you work together as a team, and you sell more in bulk, and then you having one, then you split the cost. And they've been doing that ever since. Wow. Next thing I know, they were driving Mercedes.
They're doing well. A cooperative.
It was a cooperative.
Yeah, we'll talk about the cooperative in farming.
Yeah.
You work together, as opposed to this person selling their own pineapple here, they stand, work together, put it together. It's okay. You bring all your fruits here, put them in the boxes, and today you're the one selling them. And then when you get that money, you can bargain more because it's collective. So we have to work together as more than individuals, like Lorraine says. That if they work together, put all the jewelry together and everything's okay, this is what we have. Today,
Because it's not competition.
It's not
with each
competition.
other.
You're working with
We're
each
working
other.
for the same common
Yes.
goal. Whatever we
Yes.
want to get, it's going to be ours.
Isn't that an African way to begin with?
It should be.
It is.
And it is.
Yeah. Sometimes we
Because
lose it.
we have something here called susu. Instead of going to the bank to borrow $1,000,
Yeah.
Yes.
you get 9 friends together. Everybody puts $100, so you get $1,000.
Yes.
But every month, the next one gets
Yeah.
$1,000.
The stock fair.
Like stock fair.
Yeah,
they call
stock
it.
fair.
Yeah,
Stock
yeah.
fair.
It's an African way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have that.
Yeah, they have in South Africa as well. The stock fairs and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
That we should do more of that because in numbers, greater numbers will succeed as opposed to individuals. So as long as the group is well organized and people have a vision of what they want to do, and you can move and you can educate kids like that. You can do more things in a group as opposed to individual. Because when you sit there under the sun, under the tree, wherever you are by yourself, at some point you have to use a restroom. And now who's taking care of your business? But the
Yes.
corporations, like at the mall, they have staff. They have more than 4 or 5 people that this staff is going out at noon and you're going to go out at 2 or 3, whatever it is. So we have to look at this thing as more like a business where this continues. And you get also breaks. Don't stand there the whole day so that your humanity still, is respected. Yes.
So where are you two off to next?
Well, I am off I had to do another promotions before. I've got another show in Toronto on the 7th of August. Excuse me. And then I've got another one on the 14th of August back in Montreal. And then I'm coming home at least for a week or 2 before heading to South Africa. So I'll only see Mongezi after we leave here in South Africa.
Yes, in South Africa, that's when we connect
That's
again.
where you'll see each other again.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's when we'll see each other again in Johannesburg.
The
And what
joy,
are you
joy
doing
of
between
this.
now and then, Mongezi?
I have several concerts that I'm doing in the DC area. There's one which is a fundraiser for the Rastafarian community in Ethiopia. It's called Shashamane, where the emperor left land for Rastafarians that wanted to leave Jamaica to move back to Africa. So they have established a community where there's a clinic, there are schools, and shops. So it's and they do their own farming. So they don't buy anything from anybody. They're doing that in Africa, and they left Jamaica. And so we're doing an annual fundraiser to help with the clinics and the schooling and those kind of things. So that's coming up this weekend. And then the week after that, I'll be in Atlanta doing an acoustic set. Yes.
But guys, thank you so much for this conversation, one, but for the music last night, for the vibes, for the love, for everything.
Yes.
And welcome.
Thank you for having us.
My friends, thanks a lot for joining me again. It's Uncle Errol, and you never know who is going to be sitting in the guile. So you know what to do. Keep watching. Just right. Bye-bye.
Answers lessons. Phones 1